Good morning, everyone, and welcome to your favorite talk show with your host, Cuquito Zavala.
Good morning, dearest audience. Today, in your favorite talk show, we're gonna be talking about moon. And just like me, you'll ask yourself, what is moon? Well, moon is a simulation of real UN committees that discuss about serious real-life topics. They include competencies like multicultural, social, and emotional learning, multicultural knowledge, multicultural communication, and multicultural engagement. Well, today we have the special guests of Miss Tunisia.
I belong to the delegation of Tunisia, and my committee was UNHCR. Our topic was the Venezuelan crisis. Although we sadly didn't achieve a goal, our resolution was accepted.
A very important player of Argentina.
Hello, I'm the delegation of Argentina, and I was part of the OAS. Our topic was the crisis of Nicaragua, and our resolution was to find a prompt and peaceful solution to this important conflict.
Our favorite terrorist from Afghanistan.
Hi, I came from Afghanistan. I belong to the committee CTC. Our topic was to use protectionism against terrorism, and our resolution was approved.
My favorite, our best Egyptian goddess, Cleopatra.
I'm from Egypt. My committee was UNHCR. Our topic was the Venezuelan crisis, and our goal is to decide whether or not we should encourage Venezuelan people to leave their country.
Delightful Cleopatra. Now join me on your favorite talk show to meet our contestants. Contestant number 1. Contestant number 2. Contestant number 3. Contestant number 3. Contestant number 4. Welcome, participants. We're so glad to have you here. I remember when I was just in your place.
Contestant number 1.
Hello, I am from the delegation of Costa Rica. My topic was the Venezuelan migration crisis, and although we did not find a solution, our resolution did pass. It was amazing.
In which way does your cultural background affect your perception of the... In which way does your cultural background affect your perception of these topics? How does this impact your ability to communicate with others?
Culture takes an important role in forming people. It creates an environment where beliefs, forms of interaction, customs, and ideals are shared with the people you grow up with. This is just why background cultures may affect the way people think about these topics, because everyone has a different point of view according with what they grew up with and their cultural backgrounds. Based on the beliefs they have been formed with is the basis of their opinions. What a great time. Well, let's begin. Contestant number 1.
And now, contestant number 4. What main elements of the national and international history do I need to know to understand? Why is this important?
Well, all the information you can get depends on the topic that you are going to discuss about. And the most important thing you can do is to investigate about the historical background and that the conflict is affected on. For example, in my delegation's case, Turkey was not very involved in the Venezuelan crisis, and this affected a little my position towards a political view and an economical view. But finding out that my country was affected by a wave of immigration going in and out of the country helped for my position towards the topic. Turkey could relate to the Venezuelan people and believed that help should be brought to the nation. You need to look for information everywhere because just one article is not enough, and there is plenty of information out there. So this could help to have a firm position towards what you're going to say. Not everyone tells the truth. Remember that. So be very careful about the information that you select. Also, you need to know which countries are your allies and which countries you cannot work with, because you need to have a sustainable resolution for everyone to find world peace.
Contestant 1, you're so right. Love is love.
What you say? Freddy, baby, we're going to commercials. God!
Oh yeah, just what I need.
Mood gives you a fresh breath for your daily life.
And now, continuing back from commercials, contestant number 3. Oh, and look at that cute bow. And Argentina. How do you think people involved feel in the real life in these countries, and why?
I believe they feel dismotivated about running away from their respective countries. It is not easy for people to run from their ideologies and from the places they find familiar. Corruption and other things directly affects the citizens, and it is something that should not be avoided. Nicaraguan crisis is not something that should be ignored and should be helped from the other countries. Let's all have humanity and start to do things to support these people. They had been restricted from their free expression, and constant violent strikes had been occurring constantly. People are attacking because they feel the lack of attention from the government, from the people that needs support from it. Our support takes an important role in this crisis. Even though countries cannot help, they should demonstrate their support and acknowledge.
That's a great answer. Very, very great answer, delegate. And Argentina, we do have another question for you. For bonus points, of course. Okay, do you accept? Yeah! Amazing! What actions and steps can we take to foster a supportive multicultural community to motivate us to participate actively?
We, as a foster support multicultural community, we can participate in different associations, such as Pacific strikes, or getting people to know about these conflicts that are such important in our country.
So, do you believe that by creating a conscious society, we can make a change?
Of course, we as a society have the responsibility to get to know the future, to help the future, because we're obviously part of it. And each country should give support to this crisis and to different situations that are really damaged to the world, and to schools to get the students to know about this too.
That's a great answer. Thank you. And before continuing with our next participant, we're going to show you a little clip of what happened the day of Moon. of our last questions. Contestant number 2.
For a bonus question, contestant number 2. How can we become interested and motivated to take action regarding current issues happening locally and internationally?
Just by being involved in your own community. I understand we cannot solve all the problems of the world, but if we all unite and start helping in each community with what we can, we will soon start seeing results, and it could be the end of wars and the start of peace.
Contestant number 1. Did you have any prejudice regarding to the topics investigated and debated in your UN model?
Yes, because some of the solutions proposed to solve the refugee crisis were against supporting these people who are in need to run away from and leave their families, houses, jobs, in search of food, shelter, and security. These things should be a given in everybody's life, but I saw it is not in the lives of millions of people. It is important for us to acknowledge these problems and provide as much as we can.
How can we acknowledge and communicate through cultural stereotypes related to the topic discussed?
Just look at us. I'm from Afghanistan, and I'm not a terrorist. She is from Argentina, and she is not Messi. She is from Tunisia, and she is not a model. She is from Egypt, and she is not Cleopatra. Our host is from Costa Rica, and he's not necessarily homosexual. Can you see how stereotypes change the point of view of everyone in the world? All around the world, judging people by their stereotypes has caused all kinds of conflicts, which is exactly the position of delegates in this topic is altered.
Televisa presenta.
So, in conclusion, Moon was a really, really important experience to us because it made us see things from a different point of view. Before we did Moon, we used to think that problems could just be solved very easily. Like, I used to ask myself, well, why doesn't the United Nations just intervene and solve this? Well, we realized it's not as easy as that. There's a whole progress and there's a whole set of rules you have to respect for each country, like sovereignty. You can't just go into a country and impose rules. You can't just change their government without them wanting to. So I think it was a really important lesson that I learned. Also, as a team, we learned that Moon is not just a project, but also, well, the most important way of solving real-life problems. We learned so much about the Venezuelan crisis, also about European migration crisis, and my teammates from other committees learned about other crises. So we think it was a very important project, and I'm so glad that we did Moon.
In Moon, we learn how the United Nations work and how the countries have to make the decisions for the best of their country and obviously of the world, and how the representative of the country, how he or she cannot make the decisions for their own, and and help us look for a solution to each topic for a better future.
We learned many things in Moon, such as take part of actions about the struggles that are happening right now in different parts of the world, and acknowledge and support those people that are in need. We also learned that it's not that easy to solve this kind of problems because each country has different opinions, and I believe tolerance is really important in this kind of conflicts and this kind of ways to solve these conflicts, because if we don't have tolerance, then everyone have an opinion and everyone will take it the wrong way instead of giving the tolerance opinions in a good way and find a prompt solution.
In conclusion, I really liked the Moon project because I got to understand how each committee of the United Nations works to try and respect each country's sovereignty and also to protect the human rights of every human being in the world. I also think it is much more harder than I thought because of the different ideologies each of the countries have. But I think doing this kind of projects helps us to understand how the world really works, and it also gave me a chance to get involved and to look at the problems going on in the world right now. And this is one of my favorite projects that I've done in Tec de Monterrey.
For me, Moon was a difficult experience due to the amount of information you had to know for you to be able to discuss with different delegations. The committee I was in represented a big challenge because I didn't know anything about refugees and what they were living. Tunisia, which was the delegation I represented, was in a difficult situation at the time I was researching for information, but this didn't prevent me from having a good posture in each session. Moon is a very good experience if you are planning on studying something similar in a university, as it prepares you in cases that are real in our society. Our classmates organized the event very well, and the time for each session was fair. I learned a lot about the crisis in Venezuela and how it has been developing in the past years, and also about the situation the refugees are living in right now in Europe and how they are being mistreated and having injustice. Although I was not in the same committee with all of my project partners, and I know that each one of us had a good result at the end of Moon.